Welcome to this driving masterclass video with Steve Sutcliffe. This time, how to get the most out of a rear-wheel drive car on track. Go Steve!
Most of us still love a good old-fashioned rear-wheel drive car, one with bags of power and torque so that it can go sideways like this M3 CS Touring at the twitch of your right toe. But how do you get the best out of a rear-wheel drive car? Is it all merely about managing the torque flow through the rear tyres, or are there some extra tricks you can unleash to unlock a bit more speed and fun? Well, stay tuned and I'll show you how. But first, we need to select the right drive mode, which you do by pressing lots of different buttons in the CS, not necessarily in the right order.
So the M3 CS is four-wheel drive, but there is a button that allows you to turn it into rear-wheel drive. So I have selected rear-wheel drive. I've pre-programmed the M menu so that M2 selects full rear-wheel drive with no traction control whatsoever. The traction control is variable. You can have a bit or quite a lot, or you can have none at all. So I've selected it with none at all because this is a video about how to drive rear-wheel drive cars. So we're at the complex at Thruxton, which is a fairly slow right, which you approach at quite high speed, followed by a left-hander, followed by a right-hander. So it's a big kind of S-bend like that, but it's quite slow actually. The first right-hander is maybe only 50 miles an hour at the apex max. It's third gear all the way through, and then maybe short shift to fourth on the way out. I just want to kind of demonstrate what you need to do just to keep a rear-wheel drive car like this nice and neat, but hopefully pretty quick. So I'm in third gear. Braking is always so key. Keep your braking done early, and apex speed is nice and neat. There's a bit of understeer through there, and then I can feel the tail just starting to go, but I don't want it to go that far. The same here, and then you can really get on it on the way out. So all the time through that sequence there, I'm really trying to feel as much as possible of what's going on at the loaded rear tyre once I'm in the middle of the corner. The loaded rear tyre and your brain, that's the most important link that needs to be there. If you can't get familiar with that link, then you're never really going to get the most out of a rear-wheel drive car.
You're watching this video because you want to become a better driver, and I'm going to help you do just that. Actually, Steve Sutcliffe is going to help you become a better driver. He's written the definitive guide to being a faster, safer, more skillful driver for the intercooler, and I'm going to share that guide with you completely free. Simply click the link on screen now or below in the description, and I will email you the first part of Steve's guide straight away. The following parts will arrive in your email inbox in the coming weeks. So click the link, sign up in seconds, and you'll be well on your way to becoming a better driver with Steve Sutcliffe.
The CS Touring is, as you'd expect, a pretty serious driver's car. It's only 15 kilograms lighter than a regular M3 Touring, but has another 20 bhp and features lots of carbon fibre. It also has some very golden wheels to distinguish it visually, and on a track like this, it is quite a weapon, especially if you select rear drive and then turn the traction control off.
Feel it through the steering, feel it through the seat, feel it through the throttle, and it all connects up. If you do it right, if you join all the dots nicely, down here, you brake, you turn in, I can feel the rear axle moving around a little bit, but not much. So I'm going to get on the gas a bit earlier through there and out of here. Yeah, that's a bit too leery. That's overcooking it as far as I'm concerned. That's not quite what I'm looking for. The rear tyres in this thing are just starting to overheat a bit.
The complex at Thruxton consists of 3 different corners, but done correctly in a car like the CS, they each flow together to form just one long series of sweeps. Think of them as 3 separate corners and you will not be doing it right in any car. Each corner affects the next, and to put all 3 together is key to getting the most out of the CS, in rear or four-wheel drive, but particularly in rear drive mode. Because if you upset the tail anywhere on the way into turn 1 or 2, you won't recover it until you're well beyond the exit of turn 3.
Identifying your turning point is absolutely crucial. Like this corner, I'll go through it slowly. You turn in, you hit the apex. It's one motion. I'll do the same through here. One motion. And then the same again through here. And if you do it right, you just join all the dots up. That's 2 motions through there, through that whole S-bend complex. That's obviously doing it at really slow speed, but in order to get it absolutely nail it in a rear-wheel drive car, you do exactly the same thing, but at much, much higher speeds. So you come up like this, you brake, stay on the steering the same, and then there's a transition through here, stay on the steering the same, then there's a transition through here, stay on the steering the same. The exit point comes towards you, and away you go. Very smooth on the steering, actually very smooth on the throttle as well, and not even that aggressive on the brake pedal. Yeah, you need to brake quite hard. You need to maximize the stopping power of this thing. Brake, turn, understeer, so just back away a bit. Oversteer a touch. See, so I've gone too far then. I've completely overcooked it midway through the complex there. So the back end has started to step out, and then you have to correct it, you have to come off the throttle, and you just kill it all stone dead. That is how not to drive a rear-wheel drive car.
You can steer any car on the throttle, but steering a rear drive car using the accelerator is not all about driving it with armfuls of oversteer. Far from it. Instead, it's about getting the nose exactly where you want it to be. Not just on the way into corners or at the apex, but on the way out of them as well. By getting the nose of a rear drive car where it needs to be at the apex of any corner, you'll make the exit of that corner much easier to nail. Simple as that. And doing so is often a matter of patience, especially in a powerful one like this, as well as skill.
There is a connection that you need to feel at all times between your right foot and your backside and the loaded outside tyre. Sometimes it's the loaded outside front tyre on turning. And actually you can feel the load building up from this right-hander to the second right-hander. You can feel that rear tyre is getting just that little bit hotter. And all that's just coming at you through the seat, through your backside, but through your hands as well. Whether you prefer the kind of clinical efficiency of the four-wheel drive version of this car, or basically having to back off and drive it more neatly in two-wheel drive and in rear-wheel drive, well, I don't know. They're actually very different challenges. You can still lose the four-wheel drive version of this car very easily if you push it too hard, and you'd be going that much quicker when you did lose it. But there's a really nice challenge in trying to get almost as much speed and composure out of it in two-wheel drive compared with four-wheel drive, but you have to be a lot neater with the throttle, a lot neater with your braking inputs, your braking points, your turn-in severity. You cannot turn in as violently when it's in two-wheel drive as you can when it's in four-wheel drive, but it does understeer more when you're in four-wheel drive. It's fascinating, really.
Short shifting is a great technique to help keep the tail of a rear drive car calm at the exit of a corner, like the one that leads out of the complex at Thruxton. Short shifting works because it allows you to use more throttle sooner towards the exit of a corner. By being in a gear higher at the exit, you can get on the throttle harder and faster from the apex to exit without overexciting the rear tyres, which will always keep a rear drive car better balanced.
I'm just going to go through here once more and be Larry. Try and explain to you what I'm doing when I'm being Larry in it, in two-wheel drive, obviously. Second gear, third gear. So I'm going to deliberately provoke it on the way in by backing off and then getting on them. hang on the throttle like that. I very nearly lost that then. That's running out of petrol. Damn, that's a shame.
In the end, it doesn't really matter how many tricks or techniques you throw at the puzzle, because driving a rear-wheel drive car well is still ultimately about being as smooth as possible with it. Be that on the steering wheel, the throttle, the brakes, or even the clutch if there is one. Because the smoother you are at the controls of a rear drive car, the less neurotic it will feel when you try and drive it quickly. And by smooth, I don't mean slow. You can be aggressive with your inputs, but that doesn't mean you should do anything in it frantically. There is a big difference. In the end, smooth in, fast out remains the holy grail when it comes to getting the most out of a rear-wheel drive car, to which you can then add whatever tricks you wish if you fancy it. Or you can just vaporise the rear tyres if there's the space in which to do so and someone else is paying for them. In the end, it's up to you and you alone, how far you want to push it.